Hi, I'm John Cash. Welcome to John Cash Ministries and Revelations Church's Daily Devotion. Today I want to talk about this. A fool loves a good fight. We're in chapter 26 of Proverbs, starting in verse 17. We're going to look at 3 or 4 verses. It says, like one who seizes a dog by the ears is a passerby who meddles in a quarrel not his own. Let me ask you something. Have you ever grabbed the dog by its ears? And it says here, seizes. So you're not just petting it or grabbing it a little bit and rubbing it. No. You take the dog, you grab them by the ears, maybe even try to lift them up. You wouldn't do that. Why? Well, you're going to get bit. Who wants that? In the same way, if you're a passerby, if you're somebody who's not involved in a quarrel and you get involved, if you meddle in that, you're a fool. Don't do it. You're going to get bit, okay? You're going to get bit. Now, there are people that are peacemakers, and there's nothing wrong with being a peacemaker, but if you get involved in a quarrel or a fight that's not your own, there's a very high degree of likelihood that you are going to jump into the mud with those particular individuals. And they're going to want you to jump in the mud with them because people like to gang up on other people. You got two people going at it. First thing that the one's going to do, or both will try to do, try to grab you and get, you come on my side because I'm right, they're wrong. And they try to get you involved. Wisdom says, do not do it. Look at verse 18. It says, like a madman shooting firebrands or deadly arrows is a man who deceives his neighbor and says, I was only joking. Now, the first part of this, a madman shooting firebrands or deadly arrows. A madman would be a fool, someone who is irrational. This is akin to pretty much taking a machine gun today and shooting people. And we've seen these types of tragedies all over our country, really since the inception of the country. These things have been happening. And this verse 18 covers it and says, when you have that kind of situation happen, it's akin to a man who coarsely jokes with his neighbor and then just says, oh, I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. So the fact is they're not really kidding. Sometimes, hey, I love a good joke. And I've been guilty of this. Sometimes you can say something sly and mean just to get in your little barb and then say, oh, I'm just joking, I'm just joking. Well, if you've ever been on the receiving end of those kind of jokes, it hurts. And God doesn't want that. He wants us to lift each other up and not tear each other down. Then in the last verse, verse 20, we find this. It says, without wood, a fire goes out. Without gossip, a quarrel dies down. Now, I want you to picture a fire pit with a fire going. Now, let's picture the fire that is almost out, and you can still see, it's night, you can still see the embers, but there's no real fire going. Now, that's an example of a quarrel that nobody can see happening anymore, but deep down in the hearts of the individuals, there's still this evil ember of fire inside of them. There is unforgiveness and bitterness. And then there are the types of fights where the fire is raging for all to see. You can see it, you can feel it. It's a terrible thing. To make that fire continue, you need a fuel source. You need wood. So here it says, without wood, a fire goes out. What God is trying to say is you need to get rid of the fuel source that's fueling your fighting and your quarreling. And that is in the heart. That is something that God can work with. Without gossip, a quarrel dies out. What's gossip? That's when you're speaking about somebody else to somebody else. So what happens is you got two people fighting, then they separate, okay? The fire is still there. Then they go out and start talking about that individual. And they try to get people aligned with them, then to gang up on the other person. Why? Because they want to feel righteous. They want to feel they're right and the other person is wrong. Well, if you do that, you're not righteous. You're the exact opposite of righteous. So we need to stop talking about people. We got to stop trying to prove how righteous we are by gossiping and sharing our quarrels with others when we need to be sharing them with God and asking Him to bring reconciliation to the situation. So the bottom line here, folks, a fool loves a good fight, but a godly person wants peace. I hope this helped you. God bless you. Thank you for your support of John Cash Ministries and Revelations Church.